In this presentation, I want to go over cutting the double tusk tenon as well as cutting it in relationship to the upper blade, which gets the dovetail. Now you can see here that I have an upper blade, a lower blade which will get the double tusks, a setup piece in the back, and I also have a double tusk tenon cut into a sample leg. To begin, I need to find my shoulder to shoulder distance, and I'm going to use a test piece to do that. And there I have the proper distance. Now this is a very light scribe cut that I'm doing. That's all. And I'm doing it on the test piece and on the lower blade. Using the test piece, I want to establish the first shoulder. Maybe. Now when I'm sizing these, I'm looking for two things. I want this shoulder to match that offset, and consequently this one as well. And I want to have the notion that this distance here to here will fit inside here to here. So the shoulders need to match, and this distance here to here needs to match for this joint to go smoothly. Now I think I've got it set up, so I'm going to go ahead and do the other end of my test piece and my lower blade. So this should be here, and this should match in the middle. So while I'm here, I'm going to do my upper blade as well. It's supposed to have the 3/16 notch in it. So I'll make that cut, this cut, this cut, and do the same on the other end. Now if we look at our pieces, we have the shoulder cuts made for all three of them. That guarantees, because they were cut at the same time, that the shoulder to shoulder distance is equal on all of them. Although the dovetail piece will get trimmed back to where it only has a 1/2 inch to 5/8 inch dovetail, because it was shouldered at the same length before shortening, the shoulder to shoulder is guaranteed to be the same. Now let's look at how we use the tenoning jig. The first thing I'm going to do is set the height of the blade. And I do not want the blade touching in here at all. Coming up close, but definitely not touching it. I'm going to do the upper blade first. Now this score line is just a little bit deeper than the shoulder cut, so I don't have to go back and do a lot of cleaning up on the inside. By paying attention to your kerf and how far you come in, you can eliminate a lot of needless handwork. Having done both ends of this piece, it'll get trimmed off and then dovetailed. Let's move on to the lower blade. To cut the lower blade, I start by hollowing out the middle, cut, flip, and cut, and I'll do that on both ends of the test piece and the actual blade itself. Having made the preliminary cut, I want to try to dial in the final cut. Okay, this looks pretty good. I have my two tenons, and keep in mind, this is my test piece. It is not my real piece. And with a little bit of wiggle, it goes right in there. It's nice and tight. A little bit of gappage here and here, but that's okay. Each tenon should be a tenon in its own right, and the two together should both be a nice solid unit. So that's what I'm going for. And having found it, I'm going to run my good piece as well. Okay, so here's my lower blade, double tusk, fitting nicely into the leg. No gap. Now for this to work smoothly, keep in mind these need to be the exact same thickness, which is why we emphasize when this goes to the planer, this goes to the planer with it. This joint was cut with absolutely no handwork. I'm going to focus in on here and show you how high I came on that middle cut. So I am just a hair above that scribe line. A couple things to emphasize. These were cut at the same time. Dovetail, double tusk. The shoulder to shoulder is consequently identical, and that's really important. The other thing that's important is I didn't use my actual pieces for any of the cutting or the setup. I used an extra piece, and that's very, very important. This is a wonderful joint, and when properly executed, requires no handwork.